Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we have got a cracker for you. Game week 22 is very, very close and we're going to be looking today at 100 experts and what they are doing with their teams this week. What transfers are they bringing in? What chips they are using and captaincy as well. This is going to be a very, very good episode. I've certainly learned a lot from making this video and I'm hoping that you guys are going to learn a few things too. So if you do enjoy this one, please do leave a like, please do subscribe if you're new around here as well. But let's have a look at the 100 experts that helped us out this week. Okay, so here are the 100 experts that very, very kindly donated their data for me, for all of us really, to help us make some of those key decisions and try and work out some of the trends that are going around in the top FPL manager community right now of what kind of moves are being done right now. You guys are going to like this one. Let's have a look and see what they're up to. Okay, so very, very basically, of the 100 expert managers, 33% are making one transfer, 50%, so half of our experts are making two transfers. In fact, more than half of our experts are making more than one transfer because we've also got 8% making 3 or more, with one of those people making 4 transfers this week, which is quite insane. This really is a week to be making a lot of transfers, and 4% are using the wildcard as well. So I know a few of you guys may be thinking about using your wildcard if you're really, really not happy with your team. There are a few top managers who are actually using their wildcard as well this week, which is quite interesting. It's the first time we've seen this for the second wildcard, where we've kind of seen actually a little bit of a trend developing for the wildcard. We've got 5% of managers not making any transfers this week. That's pretty low, really. That's kind of one of the lowest we've seen all season. So really, it is a game week to be making some transfers in some capacity for Game Week 22. The fact that it's a double game week probably is kind of adding to the fact that a lot of people want to make transfers right now. So let's continue because we also want to talk about chips. So, the chip usage among our 100 experts, 4% are using the wildcard, as we just said. We've got 2% using a bench boost, which is quite crazy. Didn't expect to see that one, but we have seen a couple of people maybe wildcarding last week to set up a bench boost. I think another person is just found themselves with a really good bench this week and wants to use the bench boost this week as well. I think any double game week, you're going to start seeing some chips being used, and the bench boost is no exception to that. 39% using the triple captain. That is the big one really, guys, isn't it? That's a pretty significant number. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking me in the comments, should we use the triple captain chip this week? Well, 39%, that's coming close to half, really, considering that a lot of our experts have already used their triple captain a couple of weeks ago on Erling Haaland. There is 39% using the triple captain this week. So it's going to be a lot this week. We're going to see a lot again next week, and then there'll be a few more towards the end of the season as well with the other double game weeks. But 39% is pretty significant, and I would not be totally surprised if this is the highest number we see all season with regards to how many expert managers are using the triple captain. And therefore, does that mean that this is the best week to use the triple captain if you still have it? Potentially. Potentially it is. So genuinely, guys, I think you guys need to put in some good thought as to whether you can use the triple captain this week. I think it's a real serious consideration you need to be making. No one's using the free hit, but 55% are not using a chip. So really, 45% of our expert managers are using some kind of chip in Game Week 22. So you guys probably need to think about doing it as well. Obviously, it's not something that you absolutely have to do. We're still seeing about just over half of our managers not using a chip. So it's not something you have to do, but it's definitely something you should be considering for Game Week 22. All right, the overall trends in Game Week 22, there's been a lot of transfers been made by the overall FPL player base. We've seen Bruno Fernandes at the top there. A few other players with a lot of transfers in. Luke Shaw and Rashford joining Fernandes. They're the 3 main Man United targets, you would say. A lot of people want to make sure they've got these 3 players in their team for Game Week 22 for the Man United double. Aside from that, we've got a lot of single Game Week players here as well. Mitoma, obviously, from Brighton. He's in good form and a very cheap price. We've got some Arsenal boys, Saka and Nketiah, Ødegaard here as well. They're quite nice options. And yeah, we've got a few other players there as well. Rodrigo at the bottom. Maybe that's interesting to some of you guys. We've got a Leeds double game week player there. But yes, let's have a look if this kind of matches up with our experts. And I can say, to a quite a large degree, yes, it does. So Fernandes, Shaw, Mitoma, Saka, Nketiah, Ødegaard, and Mahrez are all being brought in by multiple of our expert managers. There is enough of a trend here to say that maybe some of these guys are actually valid players to bring in. They're not just popular in the mainstream. They're also popular among experts as well. There are a couple of players on here that do not make any of the transfer lists, I guess, for our expert managers. None of our experts are interested in transferring in Tony or Fabian Schär. So those two players, no one's bringing those players in. You can kind of understand why. Schär is very, very expensive, and we know that he has a blank game week coming up in 25. Tony, exactly the same situation, blank in 25. Arsenal is the fixture in game week 23 as well. So maybe Tony is a player that if you already have him, maybe keep him. Of course, you can always keep him, but he's not necessarily the player you want to be moving forward with. So Tony and Schär, among the most popular transfers in, are the two players that our experts don't really fancy. In terms of most popular transfers out among our experts, well, we have got big Kevin De Bruyne top of the list, which is kind of surprising. De Bruyne has not really put too much of a foot wrong. He is quite expensive and he's not been getting mad returns or anything like that. But, you know, he's got a double game week in 23, so surely you want to be keeping your Man City players. Well, spoiler alert, guys, De Bruyne is being transferred out en masse for a certain other name. And I will just say that now. We're going to see him on the next page, but it's going to be Bruno Fernandes. So 40 of our 91 FPL experts making transfers this week are removing De Bruyne, and every single one of those 40 are moving De Bruyne to Bruno Fernandes. So very, very significant numbers there. I know a lot of you guys are in this kind of predicament. Do I move De Bruyne to Fernandes? Is it worth doing that, even if it means moving De Bruyne back into your team the following week? Is it worth it? Well, 40 of our FPL experts think it is. So with a number that high, then, you know, that's quite significant, really. That really is a large number. We don't usually see numbers that high in these videos of a transfer out, particularly with a player who isn't actually such a bad player. So, yeah, that's significant. I think that's something you definitely need to consider doing as well. If you have De Bruyne and you haven't got Bruno Fernandes, you know, there's your route there straight away. Almiron, very popular transfer out as well. Anyone who's got him is probably trying to move him out for one player or another. Mitrovic is on his way out as well. There's just other forwards that I think people prefer right now. Cancelo's got to go. The last remaining people who still own Cancelo, maybe some of you guys are included in that kind of group of people. You still have Cancelo. He needs to go. He's left Man City, obviously, and he's very, very expensive. And it's a great way, you know, downgrading Cancelo is a great way to free up some money to make some of your other moves as well. So got to get him out, got to go out the door. Martinelli is an interesting one. I didn't expect to see so many people removing Martinelli, but, you know, for many people, that's a route to do certain other transfers and stuff like that. So, you know, if you have, you know, free transfers and, you know, you like the look of your team in general, Martinelli, probably not a priority transfer out, but certainly a valid one. We've got Andreas coming out. Kane is coming out for a few people as well. Some people don't really want to remove De Bruyne in order to get Fernandes. Maybe they have to remove Kane. Martial, because of his kind of dodgy injury record kind of recently, a few people have given up on him and want to go for some different Man United assets, so Martial has been removed, and a few people still have Salah, and obviously Salah is a very obvious move out. Salah to Bruno Fernandes looks really, really obvious as a kind of transfer you can make as well, but we've spoken enough about Bruno Fernandes. Let's see where he ranks in terms of the most popular transfers in. How many people do you think are bringing in Bruno Fernandes? Well, you might be surprised. 66 out of 91. I think that is one of, if not the highest amount of expert transfers in we have seen all season. It is really, really a significant number. I know you guys are probably thinking, oh, it's not, you know, it's not all of them. It's like not 90%, it's not 80%. Honestly, in these 100 experts videos, we very rarely see a player transferred in 66 times. That is really, really significant. That's 2/3 of the whole of the 100 experts. You know, if you include the wild carders as well, all of them, they're going to have Fernandes in their team as well. This is big. This is big. So it says to me straight away that priority number one for all of you guys in terms of who you're going to get in as your transfer is going to be Fernandes. He's target number one, priority number one. You just got to get him in, or try to get him in. If it's possible, you got to try and do it some way or another. Eddie Nketiah at 28 is pretty significant as well. In a normal week, that would be a very, very high number. That would probably be the highest transfer of the week on a normal week, but obviously it's not a normal week. But yeah, Nketiah, super significant there as well with 28. He is your number one forward transfer target as well. Really would recommend trying to get him in as well. Ødegaard there, you know, no surprise there to see a few Arsenal faces in here. They play Everton this week, and a lot of people want to set up for the double game week for Arsenal in game week 23 as well, so it might be a good idea to get a couple of Arsenal guys in if at all possible. We've got Mitoma here. no surprise, super cheap, doing so well, plays a great fixture against Bournemouth. Like, this is, a real good opportunity for Mitoma. Obviously, he is going to be blanking in game week 25, which is a consideration. But as long as you've got a plan to deal with game week 25, I don't see a problem with going for Mitoma. I know I've kind of said, would I go for him personally? Maybe not. But, different people are going to have different transfer strategies. They're going to have different amount of free transfers. They're going to have a squad set up slightly differently. Some people are going to opt for the free hit in game week 25. So there's no one size fits all in terms of the Mitoma transfer. So you kind of got to work it out yourself. Can I afford to bring him in? Can I afford to, have a blanking player in 25? Can I actually transfer him back out before then and still have a decent amount of players to play in game week 25? Kind of up to you guys. We have got Saka here as well, another Arsenal face. Luke Shaw, the few people who still don't have Luke Shaw, maybe bringing him in. Estepinian there as well. It's a kind of an interesting defensive option. Aaron Wan-Bissaka at the bottom there as well. A few people taking a punt on him as a very, very cheap Man United defender. And a few people bringing in Mahrez, ready for the double next game week as well. Maybe it's slightly too early for one game week too early for Mahrez. Not really sure, but yeah, still a few people of our experts do fancy Mahrez. So we've got that data. Let's have a look at some of the suggested transfers based on that data that we've gathered. So yeah, the really, really obvious one, guys, if you've got De Bruyne and you don't have too many problems in your team right now, and you feel like you can afford to do De Bruyne to Fernandes, I think I would probably do it. And the experts, they do agree as well. So many people taking that exact transfer route. Now, if it's going to take a -4 to do De Bruyne to Fernandes and then another -4 to reverse it, then maybe you need to kind of think about it a little bit. But like I said earlier, if you don't have too many problems in your team right now, you actually find that your squad is reasonably well set up. It's not like if you've got like Cancelo and Doherty and maybe some injured players as well, and you need to remove all of these guys, then that's going to be your priority moves, obviously. But if not, you don't really have too many big transfers that you need to make. De Bruyne to Fernandes looks good, and reverse it. Do the switch reverse in game week 23 as well for the De Bruyne double. Why not? Chase that upside. These are going to be players who score very highly in each of those game weeks, so why not chase those points? Almiron to Ødegaard looks like a really obvious one. I think we suggested this one last game week as well, but if you can afford to do Almiron to Ødegaard, I think I definitely would do that. I think it's a very, very good move. It's a move I'm considering myself. And Almiron to Mitoma as well. If you can't afford to go up to Ødegaard and you've got a decent plan in order to deal with Mitoma, then in 25 and potentially 28 as well. Mitoma probably going to blank in game at 28 as well, just to give you guys another warning there. Yeah, but if you've got a plan for that, hey, why not? Great player, super good price. Let's go for him. Okay, outside of the midfielders, I've got a couple of forward suggestions. So Nketiah is obviously target number 1 when it comes to forwards. If you need to get a forward into your team for Game Week 22, Nketiah is your answer. If you're not getting him in Game Week 22, you probably need to at least get him in for Game Week 23. So he's a player you kind of got to get in either this week or next week. If you're doing it this week, Mitrovic and Martial, those are the two main people you probably want to be moving out to get Nketiah. But I'm sure some of you guys have some other forwards as well that you might be considering removing in order to get Nketiah. And we've got Cancelo to Shaw here as well. If you haven't got Shaw yet and you've still got Cancelo, really, really obvious transfer there. Obviously, we did see Estepinian and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well as potential options in terms of defenders. One thing I will note, maybe I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but one thing I will note is that among our popular transfers among our suggested transfers, you will see next to no Leeds players. We've really not got Leeds players, at all here. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking about Leeds players. The reason why I haven't really been hyping up Leeds players too much, and it's been evidenced again after making this video and gathering the data, is that top FPL managers are just not interested in Leeds players at all right now. Rodrigo, there is doubts about his fitness. Nonto is very much a player that you probably would have to remove fairly soon when Somerville comes back. And it's not a great double game week for Leeds anyway. And I think there's lots of priorities elsewhere that a lot of people are kind of moving to instead. So in general, Leeds players not really too interesting. And it really seems that there should be a focus on Manchester United, first of all, and Arsenal. Those are the two teams you want to be targeting. These are the two teams of whom's players that you would want to get into your team. But with all of that transfer talk out of the way and done, I think it's about time we have a look at the captaincy statistics. Okay, the expert top game week 22 captain picks. We have got an insane 92% on Marcus Rashford. So, again, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me in the comments, should I go for Rashford as my captain? Should I go for Fernandes? Should I go for Haaland? Well, according to our experts, 92% on Rashford. That's a significant number. It's pretty much everyone going for Rashford at this point. So, I don't think you really need to be going elsewhere unless you really want to be differential. If you are just desperate to go differential, then look, fair enough, that's completely on you, but it seems to me from this data that the very obvious sensible choice is Rashford. Bruno Fernandes is coming in here second, so he is the top alternative, I suppose, that you can maybe go for. And then we've got Erling Haaland there as well. Just two people going for Erling Haaland, but I guess that's because old habits die hard. Like, people are so used to just captaining Erling Haaland every week. It's difficult to ever say there's a game week where he's not an option, no matter who he's playing, no matter who other players are playing. Erling Haaland is always going to be at least in the conversation, but 2% is a very low number. I think that's the lowest number we've seen all season in a game week where Haaland has been fit, available, and having a fixture in a game week. Because we have seen him blank before, have blank game weeks, and obviously no one's picking him as captain when he blanks. But yeah, certainly this is the lowest we've seen Haaland in a game week where Haaland actually does have an opportunity to play in said game week. Now, triple captaincy, obviously we're on 39% of our experts are on the triple captain right now, the spread of which is 37 on triple captain Rashford and 2 on Bruno Fernandes. So there is 2 people going for triple captain Bruno Fernandes, but we've got a very clear kind of trend where Marcus Rashford is the triple captain guy if you're going to use your triple captain. So there we go. I've said it. Hopefully that does answer your captaincy questions. If you're asking for a recommendation from me, if you're asking for a recommendation from 100 experts, then your answer is going to be Marcus Rashford is the best captain choice, and Marcus Rashford is also the player you want to be playing your triple captain on most likely, unless you want to save it for a future game week, which is fair enough. It's a stick or twist mentality really with that triple captain. But if you like the look of 2 home fixtures, 2 easy fixtures for a player who is in super form right now, arguably the best form in the Premier League of anyone right now, better form than Haaland at this exact moment, you'd probably say. Probably not across the whole season, but in this exact moment, you'd probably say Rashford is in kind of equal or better form than Haaland and has much better fixtures in this double, both at home. So, look, it looks good. It looks good. This week looks very good for triple captain Marcus Rashford. And if you're asking me if I'm triple captaining Rashford, I'm like 90% yes, 95% yes. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. And I'll obviously lock that in before the deadline and let you guys know for sure. But yeah, I think it's triple captain Marcus Rashford time. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. If you did enjoy this one or found it helpful at all, please do leave a like. I know that I find these videos so helpful to make, so I hope some of you guys do just find it useful as well. Just to have a nice sounding board, see what the experts are up to. Does it match with kind of what you're thinking? If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, maybe we just need to step back and have a little think about, am I sure I want to make these moves? And if you still do, then that's completely fair enough too. Do subscribe if you're new around here, you want more of this content. We've got my team selection coming up tomorrow, which I'm very excited to share with you as some of my plans, because I think I might go a little bit crazy this week. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.